our dad would always just drive us to the movie theater and drop us off and then go do God knows what. We found out later he was up to nefarious things with other women.
You're going to get that one off. Okay. Well, anyway.
Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Welcome back indeed, guys, to the one and only podcast on the internet.
And we know because we invented the word podcast.
So it's another week, another Thursday, or whatever day you're listening to this. And we're glad that you're here because there's so much to talk about. I was actually saying just before we started recording that this is going to be like one of those like rapid fire. There's just so many little stories.
It might have actually been an hour ago. We've been talking that long.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we just like talk and then we finally are like, we should probably hit record now.
Yeah, we have like a pre-podcast before the podcast.
Yeah, but this week there's just like a load of stories. Like there's going to be so much. It's actually kind of exciting. Ones in chat if you're on the YouTube premiere.
Put your ones up.
Love to have you here. And if you're not, that's okay. But you could certainly consider joining. It's every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Shout out to the premiere gang.
Yeah, always fun. And shout out to all of the channel members. We finally did our first bonus episode in a while last week.
And we're going to get another one, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, and they liked it. It was a fun bonus episode.
What was our topic? It was our...
What would take away your nerd card?
Yeah, it was our... we were trying to pull our nerd cards.
Some awful confessions in that video, truly.
Deeply, like, hurtful and
damaging stuff. Did you know that Alec hates Yugioh
players?
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. I was going to say. We put that behind a paywall because we can't have those secrets getting out.
Yeah, that's true. I can't have the people knowing. Anyway, all right, so let's get into the Yu-Gi-Oh news. There isn't much. I will warn you right off the bat.
We're circling the
Basically,
drain,
nothing really happened, but they showed us the Chronicles series. You remember the Yu-Gi-Oh? I still don't even know how to say that. The Chronicles.
The Chronicles. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Chronicles.
Yeah, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! The Chronicles. The Fallen and the Virtuous card sleeves were announced. So, yeah, they're basically Albaz Ecclesia sleeves.
That's cool artwork.
Which are going to be coming out this October, which is sort of interesting because, once again, it means that these won't really be coming out when those Chronicle videos are coming out.
That's well after, right?
Yeah, because I think this month is May, so I guess at the end of this month we're going to get our second Sky Striker one.
Yep.
And then in June, July, and August, I believe, it's going to be 3 Albaz ones.
So maybe you can look at it as you're capping off the end of the Albaz quote-unquote mini-series with some new sleeves.
Yeah, so that's kind of neat. Will you be buying... I don't know that I'll be buying these because I don't even like... I guess I never got too into the branded story, but maybe after I see these really cool...
like 4-minute episodes,
that will change my mind.
Maybe, and this is not, look, guys, I might be coping. Maybe Konami will see the criticisms they got with that first Sky Striker episode and like endeavor to make longer episodes, despite the fact that they had to have been already made before now. But we're not we're gonna pretend like things can change.
Storyboarded or whatever, like a year ago, probably 2. Also, we got some cool new reveals for Dark Magician and Heroes. So it's kind of annoying because the Dark Magician cards literally like showed up the day the pod aired last week. But yeah,
They just love revealing things on Thursdays.
Yeah, the new Dark Magician stuff for the Tactical Tri packs, I guess these are. There's like a Tactical Tri deck. I think they're also doing like a Tactical Tri pack.
For once, I actually looked at the actual effects of the cards because, I'm known for just looking at artwork and then letting Paul tell me what the cards do later. And the Dark Magician stuff looks solid. Yeah,
there's that Dark Magician of Destruction. Mm-hmm. This really cool fusion monster that you can kind of summon in a similar manner to like Thunder Dragon Colossus. As long as you've activated a spell, you can just banish any level 6 or higher Dark Spellcaster.
Which means you can run it in every deck not named Dark Magician.
Yeah, and it becomes Dark Magician. It searches a Dark Magician card. They also got a new Timaeus Dragon and a new Eye of Timaeus sort of retrain.
What, the Gaze of Timaeus was the
translation? Yeah, the Gaze of Timaeus, and it's effectively the same thing, but now it can actually be searched properly because Eye of Timaeus
that weird ruling where the Eye of Timaeus does not actually mention the Dark Magician.
Yeah, and it can also use something in your grave as well as your field, and it's a quick play spell. But the small drawback, of course, is that the monster will be banished during the end phase of the next turn, so you got to make sure to use it.
Use it or lose it.
If you don't use it in 5 turns,
I knew you were going to
lose it in 5 turns.
The moment I said lose it, I knew you were going to say
That's my favorite Kaiba line. That's from... Actually, you guys let me know if you remember where that's from. If you don't use them in 5 turns, you lose them in 5
Paul,
turns.
they know. They have to.
Not everybody knows.
That's not the first time you've said this on this pod.
And there's also an alt art of Secrets of Dark Magic. So
I like the alt art too. I did
kind
like
of
the
cool.
alt
It's
art.
got this Magician of Chaos doing some stuff.
Some black magic.
Yeah, it's doing some black magic.
Or dark magic. I forgot. It's the TCG.
Yeah, Mom might not let me play otherwise.
We don't do black. It's only dark here.
Also some new heroes. These are specifically masked heroes. There's Masked Hero Dusk Crow, Masked Hero Furnace, Masked Hero Atomic, and Masked Hero Dark Law just gets an alt art.
Yeah, Dark Law has an alt art here.
Basically, each of these is like 3 new cards and an alt art of an existing one.
And these new Masked Hero cards, man, I can't wait.
Yeah, they're really neat. I think that it's cool that they are kind of trying to support masked specifically. I've always hated, though, that in most cases, hero cards tend to just end up being like a soup deck.
And this is still much the same.
Yeah.
Because sadly, the new mask cards, they don't lock you out of running other heroes. In fact, they work with heroes as well as any other hero strategy. I think, what did I see? Essentially, you can bridge any hero deck you want into Cosmic Hero Chaos, which makes me happy. You remember him, Paul? Remember him? He was the boss monster from that old masked hero structure deck.
Yeah, he was. God, that never got played.
Because it was too hard to summon.
That card.
I think you had to fuse 2 masked heroes, but everyone knows that that will never happen.
Yeah, that's so much trouble.
But with this deck, because you have main deck masked heroes, it's easy. It searches all the pieces you need. It's just as streamlined as the Vision Hero engine.
Yeah, they've also announced the next core set is called Doom of Dimensions. So,
okay, that's why they got reviewed. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know the name of the set.
Well, that's not what the heroes or whatever are from.
No,
that's the DD supports.
The DDD cards were shown off, but I didn't know why we're getting new DDDs because of Doom of Dimensions. Okay.
Yeah, so is that like what that's supposed to be?
I mean, I'm assuming that's why.
Because they're like different dimension
demons.
Or whatever, so.
I wonder, what does the TCG think they stand for? Because I feel like we wouldn't say demon in the TCG.
Yeah, I guess in the TCG they probably, I get what you're saying. Like they probably take a
like different dimension
deviants. Dudes. It'd be dudes. Yeah. I was gonna say like different dimension deviants. That kind of sounds like they're troublemakers, but you're probably right. It would be like dudes.
Yeah, just different dimension dudes, just hanging out. You know.
Totally awesome and magical something. A different dimension dude. Just a dude from a different dimension.
I hate that name.
So there's also this Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel thing. There's a new event going on in Master Duel, basically. And normally I don't really talk that much about the events and festivals, but this one's called the Dice Rally event.
Oh, and is it all dice cards all the time?
No, it's a new sort of take on PvP events where like you duel and you get points and then you move spaces on a game board. And different spaces do different things.
Like Duel Links?
Does Duel Links have a mode like that? I don't know.
Yeah, Duel Links has a game board mode. Like, and you earn rewards as you go around the board.
Yeah, and so it's not, I guess it's sort of like that. And you get like different nerfs and buffs or like changes for your duels. Like you might start with a certain card in your hand, like a Nibiru in your hand, for instance.
They actually augment the game itself? Now, Duel Links did not do that with their like dice rolling event.
Yeah, or certain like other cards that will like be active on the field, maybe like a Floodgate-esque thing that's like active from the start of the duel or whatever. So I think it's kind of neat. It's a very different take on a event, but I think it's kind of fun because up to now they've mostly just done like the Xyz Link Festival or whatever, and so this feels like they're kind of turning into more of like an RPG like interactive experience. Yeah,
I think it just shows how the Master Duel team, or lack thereof, they're trying to operate with this unmoving idea of what Master Duel is. Master Duel is a 1v1 simulator. Yeah. And so anything you do has to just tie into and around it. You can't just add something to Master Duel. It has to work within the framework of being system. A 1v1 simulator, which is kind of limiting, but this is different. This is definitely different.
It's a step. I mean, like I think it's cool. And that's pretty much kind of it. You know, Master Duel's gotten a few other neat little announcements and cards added to it. But for the most part, I thought that was kind of the thing worth talking about. I myself have been playing a lot of Master Duel this season, though I think I've kind of hit my limit of how much of it I can tolerate for the month.
Oh, until the Duelist Cup?
Yeah, that might be happening next month, I guess.
You're going to be locked in for that, right?
Or something. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
No,
Ryan, Paul from Team APS is coming for you.
Right, yeah. Specifically him.
We're gonna drum up some beef and get it really hype.
Yeah, so that's cool. That's actually like all the Yu-Gi-Oh! I just haven't seen anything else. Or nothing like particularly major.
Major Yu-Gi-Oh! I got nothing.
Have you? I mean, you know, you went to locals.
Yeah, I've been.
More.
You know,
small
guys,
update on that.
Yeah, guys. Like I said before, I'm trying to evolve my Yu-Gi-Oh! Opinions and get back into playing like the modern game. I've gone to a few locals now with my White Forest deck. I can confirm one thing off rip, even though I haven't been to too many locals now. Losing at Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still miserable. My God, there is no game that hurts as bad to lose at than Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, maybe Overwatch. Overwatch losing sucks too. You know what? They might be the same. But luckily, I didn't just lose at locals. I've been pushing myself to adapt and embrace the modern style of comboing and going balls to the wall, creating the most disgusting boards. The moment there's a chink in my opponent's armor, just going crazy. Mm-hmm. And there is fun in that. Don't get me wrong. Like, there is certainly fun in going crazy and your opponent just has to stand there and just cry. But
it's brutal.
You know, it's a rough way to live, man. Like,
it is brutal.
In a best 2 out of 3, right? I win one, they win one, then one of us wins the last game. You essentially take turns watching the life leave your opponent's eyes as you say, okay, special summon, special summon, special summon, special summon. Because like if you don't do all of that every single time, your opponent's like, Dark Ruler no more? What? No response? Okay. And then they just go and so it's crazy how brutal Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, but the thing is, when you embrace it,
it's pretty fun, right?
It's still pretty fun.
Yeah,
I can't lie. Cool. I can't lie, because you lose sometimes, yeah, but then sometimes you win, and
that feels good.
That dopamine rush when you're winning with a crazy board of your favorite monsters, it feels good, man.
Yeah, it's very. It's kind of a love and hate, push and pull, toxic little thing, really. But anywho. That is the Yu-Gi-Oh! News for the day. Unless we missed something really obvious, I apologize. But that's kind of been it. Now, as for other card games,
there's plenty.
There is still a good chunky bit. What do we have?
So,
I was gonna talk maybe just like Magic.
There's Magic. I had a thing about Bandai and like Gundam. I had this like TCG player like sales thing.
Okay, I guess. Let's talk Magic, because Final Fantasy, like, I didn't even know how to fit this in.
Fair,
because there's just so much.
Yeah, guys, if you've been underneath a rock, Magic the Gathering has been revealing Final Fantasy cards left and right for the last, so it feels like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Today, yesterday for you guys, they showed off the Secret Lair, the Final Fantasy Secret Lair, like, super deal, where it's 3 Secret Lair. It's 3 Secret Lair products. I don't have the names of them.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called, but I did see that there's 3 different ones, and a lot of them, I guess with the Secret Lairs cards, just so that I understand, because I'm somewhat Magic illiterate, is that like Secret Lairs they're kind of a limited run thing, like where you have to go on the website and kind
get
of
lucky,
get in the queue and wait.
Okay, I pulled it up.
What is it called?
So it's their Secret Lair Final Fantasy Summer Super Drop that goes on sale on June 9th. There are 3 different sets of cards. So there's Final Fantasy Game Over, Final Fantasy Weapons, and Final Fantasy Grimoire.
Okay.
So Final Fantasy Game Over is a series of cards where essentially the villain is kind of like styling on you.
Yeah, he's like using his ultimate attacks or
like
transforming or whatever.
There's Sephiroth with Meteor Fall.
Right, of course.
Kefka with Merciless Poisoning. Ultimacia with Absorbance of Time. And who is that? I actually can't tell what this one is. Spyro's Punishment. That sounds familiar, but I can't remember what character this is referencing. But anyway, there's also Weapons, where this one shows off different weapons that protagonists have wielded in Final Fantasy.
Cloud's Buster Sword and other
Clive's
such things.
Invictus Blade. Gaia's Dark Hammer. That's from Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, know all
And then,
about Gaia.
last but not least, and I think Paul will like these just because of his character in Final Fantasy 14, is the Grimoire series of cards. And I'll let you read
what
these.
are those? I haven't seen any of this. Yuna's Holy Magic. Aerith's Kiraga Magic. That's cool. I like that. Noctis's Death Magic. Hope's Arrow Magic. I want this one. And Vivi's Thunder Magic. Yeah, I like Hope from 13. You know what my favorite thing about these like Magic the Gathering cards is, and I think they're really leaning in so well into it with the Final Fantasy collab.
What's that?
Is that you have the effects and you have the like a little bit of flavor text at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's such a sweet treat.
The flavor text brings it all together.
So like for instance, you know, like I want this card Hope's Arrow Magic, and you know, like it does this thing. I don't know what. You know, I don't play Magic. It's an instant. It does whatever. But like his quote is like, "I'll try to watch out for you too," and that's actually from one of my favorite cutscenes in the game. And I know that for all of these Magic the Gathering X Final Fantasy cards, all these quotes, like I'm hearing more people talking about like the moments on the art and like the quotes at the bottom and how like that moves them so much. So like, yeah, like I don't know. I think that like that's such a cool thing that I sometimes wish Yugioh could do. I mean, the card is so goddamn small, but like is just being able to kind of have a little bit of like a quote or some flavor text or whatever in addition to the effects, just to really sell the stories. So.
Now, all 3 drops are going to be available in non-foil and rainbow foil limited quantities. Each drop will be available in English and Japanese, which makes sense. And then the non-foil drops are going to be $30, while the foil drops are going to be $40. Now, that sounds like fairly cheap, but you have to remember there are 3 different ones. So if you're a collector,
Yeah, you kind of have to have them all.
like that means you're looking at a minimum of 90. But
and then also like the markups, because like if you don't make the drop date,
oh god,
then online you're paying like, you know, 500 times the price.
Guys,
for some of these things.
please just make it to the drop. You do not want to buy these secondhand. The non-foil versions of Secret Lair drops aren't that bad, but the foil ones, Jesus Christ.
Which has actually always been another funny thing about Magic to me is how like, you know, Magic doesn't get nearly as extravagant with the rarities compared to games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And especially like Pokemon. But when they do foil cards, like it's usually just kind of a fairly basic foil effect, but it still makes all the difference because it's just the difference between foil and non-foil. So
I know you probably haven't opened up too many of their collector's boosters. Those are the ones where they go kind of crazy with their rarities.
Oh, they do? Okay, I haven't seen too much of that.
The collector's boosters, they those get crazy, but they're also quite expensive, so you don't really see too many opened at a time. Mm-hmm. The collector's boosters for this set are unacceptable, so I will not be opening any Final Fantasy collector's boosters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to get some Final Fantasy stuff. I'm not gonna lie though, this is like another little, like, so there's someone who's gonna be like, Paul, like you're fucking dumb. It's it's easy and obvious. I never know what to buy with Magic because they've been showing so much stuff, and it's just like, this is in the set, this is in the commander deck, this is in like the secret layers, and I'm just like, I kind of just want like one thing. Like I don't want to have to buy like all of this stuff because like I want, you know, my like lightning army of one card, and I want my like hopes magic or whatever thing.
Well, that's already 2 different products.
But it's already, yeah, I know that's already like 2 different things to my understanding. So it's like I guess I'll just I guess they just get all my money, don't they?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the point, right? This Universes Beyond set exists to milk a certain like population of people completely dry. And let's not forget, this is all standard legal, so it's gonna milk even the non-Final Fantasy fans as well.
I know, but I'm excited for it. It all looks amazing. The last thing I was going to say about that too, and maybe you've noticed this, I feel like there's like more hype for this Final Fantasy thing than like I've seen for like almost any other Magic collab, give or take obviously like Lord of the Rings. And I know that Marvel is like coming later, so it will probably get similar amounts of it. But
I think we're like, because we're pretty into our Final Fantasy 14 and then 7 and then other Final Fantasy titles, our algorithms are just predisposed to showing us as much of this product as humanly possible.
Right. So maybe it's just I'm just being exposed to more of it.
It's like, for instance, like you wouldn't have seen any of the Lord of the Rings stuff because your algorithms are like, he doesn't care about Lord of the Rings. Why would I share him any of this?
Yeah, that's true. I guess all I saw of Lord of the Rings was the One Ring and Black Aragorn.
Yeah,
and all the fun controversy with that.
Oh, that was fun, huh? That was a word for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice about it. But no, yeah, like I don't know. I think it's also because there is such an overlap between like just the source material feels so much more magic geared. Mm-hmm. Like whereas I think with similarly to like Lord of the Rings, it felt like a natural fit for magic. Final Fantasy is kind of in that same boat. Whereas things like Assassin's Creed or like My Little Pony or SpongeBob or whatever, like can feel more like forced a bit. Marvel's somewhere in between.
Marvel doesn't fit. We can be. I think we can be honest.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit with like the magic styling and aesthetic. But hey, that's what Wizards is doing. And look, if they're selling, I'm buying.
Yeah, I'm not buying. Like, I'm gonna like, or okay, I'm going to try to buy as little as I can because I do not want to be like. Because I'm not that interested in like getting a bunch of magic cards and having a bunch of bulk and all that stuff. Like I want specifically the cards I own and like everything else is getting offloaded. So I don't want anything extra.
So what I'm hearing is you're gonna get a case.
Right.
Nice.
Do people do that with magic cases? I guess so.
It's a bit harder with like these Hype Universes Beyond sets because the demand is insane.
Yeah.
But not impossible. Not by a long shot.
Okay, well, cool. That's Magic X Final Fantasy. Let us know if you will be partaking. I most certainly will.
Guys, it's another week, so I need to share with you this week's Pokemon theft story.
Can't wait to hear it. This is literally the highlight of my week.
Well, this is also a bit of a reverse because the headline reads, police try to return rare Pokemon cards after a raid uncovers stolen $330,000 collection.
Ooh, goodness. Okay.
So police in the UK have arrested a man after uncovering his stash of stolen Pokemon cards valued at over $300,000.
I love how these... Wait, let me take a guess at where this article's from. Is this from Dexerto? Is it?
That's exactly it. Yes.
You know what? Okay, this is a tangent. You know why I knew?
Why?
Because it used the word stash. It's such a Dexerto word. Like, it's like... Yeah, and they uncovered the stash of stolen cards. It's like they just love those kinds of words. Like it's a little more casual, a little more like. Sorry, go on with the story. I can just tell. Like it's like that's a Dexerto article.
I'm so mad you said that because literally that moment, this black ad just took up my entire screen, and I
know reading Dexerto on mobile sucks.
Oh my gosh! So according to the BBC, one man was arrested after his house was raided by the authorities. Once inside, they found a massive collection of Pokemon cards wrapped in plastic valued at over $330,000. The cards had price tags on them as high as £560,000. Around 740 USD. Like you can even see some of the pictures where he had them plastic wrapped and priced. So he knew what he knew what he had. He knew what the value was.
Oh, so I think that he'd stolen these cards and like they literally probably still already had price tags on them, maybe unless he put those price tags on them intending to sell them.
Which I've never heard of a criminal quite that organized, but nothing's impossible.
That's why I think that he just stole a collection that had already been like sorted and priced for the most part.
Anyway, attempts are now being made to return the cards to their rightful owners. So I wonder if this is all just one person's cards that were stolen, or if this person had been stealing cards from many people.
It sounds to me. Is there anything else to the article that they
say?
It
just says that it's not clear if these have been stolen from a shop, a single individual, or multiple people over time. No more information is available at this time.
Well,
those are my cards.
Yeah, that's right. It was Alex.
Hey, UK police. I actually don't know where this is. Manchester police. Those are my cards. You need to return them to me right now.
Give me back my Pokemon cards.
All $300,000 worth.
My guess is that this is multiple people's collections. But then again, from that picture that has like price tags, that must be from a shop. Like that seems like that would have been stolen from a shop, right?
Yeah, those price tags on like something like if I were like a criminal, I feel like I would just scroll the numbers down on a piece of paper. I wouldn't go through the trouble of getting a label made and then
Yeah,
sticking
that's
it
what I
on
was thinking.
there.
I think that shit's from some card shop, amongst probably other things too. But it is good to hear like an optimistic spin on this for a change. Like,
Yeah, the police actually got a guy. Though it's interesting. It was a raid, so I don't think they actually intended to find a stash of Pokemon cards. It was just that they happened to find them. So what it sounds to me like and we already heard about this a little bit before, real criminals are getting in on the Pokemon game. They know them cards worth something.
Yeah, it is sad too because it reminds me of how like one week we were talking about the way that getting your Pokemon cards stolen, whether it's like a shop or a person or whatever, it's a lot tougher to get those back from the police because they're just not going to, I would imagine, put generally as much effort into like kind of finding them and getting them back to you. It probably varies from place to place.
It's really hard to prove ownership of trading cards.
That too.
Unless we're talking about graded slabs where there's a paper trail associated with each slab.
And even
it's much harder if someone got their hands on my Yu-Gi-Oh binder. I have this bunch of old Yu-Gi-Oh cards. The binder might be worth maybe a couple hundred. Maybe that's a stretch.
Yeah, who's to say?
But the problem I think I'd run into is I wouldn't be able to say for a fact or prove it that is my binder because it's just cards.
Right.
And even if I can tell them what most of the cards in the binder are, because I probably couldn't do all of them, is that really evidence?
Yeah, there's always so much plausible deniability, and then this isn't just a Pokemon thing, but once stuff's on like the black market, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, things get tougher to track. Not impossible. Sometimes that can actually be what leads you to
It reminds me of why trading cards are like banned at my elementary school. Because kids would like trade cards like left, right, back and forth, up and down, and then there'd be an issue where one kid says another kid stole his card, and the teachers are just like, I don't know who this belongs to.
Yeah, they don't really know, and if they make a judgment call and it's wrong, then it's even worse.
But that's why our teachers start taking the cards.
They're just like, y'all just can't have
nobody
that.
Gets them.
Nobody brings this.
Don't bring them to school anymore. Then we broke into her desk later. But that's different. That's different. We weren't. We were good kids. We were good kids.
Anywho, you said you had something with like Gundam?
Oh yeah. So open that up.
This is something I'm very curious about.
It's not like a huge thing. It's just that Bandai has announced their first combat for the Gundam CG. First combat is the name of the tournament, the first tournament series for the Gundam card game.
Oh, a tournament series.
Because it's not just, I have to call it a series because it's not just one singular tournament. Because this is essentially the first large tournament, kind of like, we could call it a YCS style tournament. It says the first official OP event, I'm not sure exactly what OP stands
Organized
for.
play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Series will take place over the month of August 2025 after the launch of the game in July 2025. The first events for this series have been scheduled to be held at Gen Con 2025. The events will run for 3 format types. There'll be 1v1 constructed, 1v1 sealed, and 2v2 constructed.
Oh, that's interesting. 2v2, like out the
gate.
You and Alex know a little thing about 2v2.
We do. We was on camera getting our faces stepped in.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, in case you didn't know, Alex and I, we played on stage at the
Bandai
Card Game Fest Orlando. And it was a 2v2 Gundam match against... it was Praz D and I forgot his YouTube name. Aspera?
Yeah.
It's very close to his name. I'm sorry for getting it wrong.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then we lost, but we had a lot of fun, and that's what's important.
It was good. So it sounds like they've kind of got their organized play kind of named and stuff out the gate. Like I know like one piece was called like the Treasure Cup, although I don't know if that's still...
I think they still do their Treasure Cups.
Exactly. So Alec will be there is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I do want to be there. And guys... I know that this is Gen Con, that's in Indiana in the United States. This is not actually the only first combat. There are going to be first combats in a few different places. This article doesn't actually list them, but I saw the Bandai app notification, because I have the app. It sent me a notification when they announced it, and they had multiple first combats. It wasn't just this one.
Okay.
So, if you're from Europe or just literally anywhere else that can't get to Indiana, you'll be fine.
Right. Well, that's cool. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I know Gundam card game seems like it's been getting a little bit of buzz. I mean, I think like every new Bandai card game tends to be that way, but it
Yeah.
does seem like with each new one they learn a little bit more from the previous one and they kind of wrap it all in. So like this game is literally like launching with Commander, launching with 2v2. Like it feels like there's so many avenues for a card gamer to get into the Gundam card game, even if you weren't necessarily interested in being like a competitive 1v1 person. Well, you know, you can do something else. And so
I do worry about the this kind of what I call overhype for the Gundam card game. I've talked about it before, but I just have this feeling that we have a lot of people in this space very excited for the release of these Gundam cards, but I don't think they're actually here to play it.
I mean, to be clear, I think it's fine to be there to collect it.
I don't think they're there to do that
But
either.
there are also probably people with different motives, like selling and scalping.
Yeah.
So
I think there's two forms of quote unquote bad actors in this space right now. There are the vendor types, and I'm not talking about real vendors, you know, people who actually have shops. I'm talking about the like fly by night, set up a
backpack
TCG
vendor.
player site in like a day and move cards left and right. Those types, you've seen them, they're like piranha, just everywhere at TCG events. There's them, and then there are, and this is a sad one, the competitive TCG player that never was. I've noticed that because of Bandai's ever increasing number of titles, there's this type of card game player that moves from new game to new game, trying to be the best at it because they couldn't become the best at the other ones.
I mean, I don't think that's objectively a bad thing.
It's only a little bad because they won't stick.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that you're kind of, I guess, describing the trend hopper.
They're like journeymen in the TCG space. It's wherever they can be the most competitive, and usually it means that they couldn't hack it in the last game that came out.
Yeah.
So
And
their chance at success is this next new game.
And it might suggest that they care less about the IP, your love of the IP, and more about just like, will this be the game that I can, sneak a few wins in?
Yeah, will I top this one? Can I win their first major event?
I mean, I think though that in that person's defense as well, like I already don't think it's like bad to necessarily game hop, but I think that like at least in the case of Bandai, that's like literally what they want people to do with their games only. But like that's what like with Bandai, they kind of reach a point with some of these games where they're just like, okay, we'll like leave Digimon on autopilot, we'll leave whatever on like new game, try it. You know what I mean?
I just think it sets like an unrealistic expectation for the release of this card game. I think it's going to have a stupid amount of hype when it comes out, and Bandai and others might think that is sustainable.
Yeah.
And then it disappears.
That's true. And that's another thing about these Bandai games as well, is like their pre-release buzz tends to be so high. And then sometimes it just, because like, I remember when the One Piece thing was coming out and there was like all these like early showings of cards and like pre-release pack and like
Super pre-release.
beta. Yeah, that's what they called it. Was like, this is the super pre-release thing. And like, I'm assuming Gundam's probably doing the same. Like here's
I mean, they've had their beta kits out for a minute
they had the
now.
beta thing, and here's the other beta thing, and the super whatever. So, I'll believe it when I see it. Like I think right now, basically, One Piece has been the golden child of like maintaining that interest and growing, and other card games kind of come and go. That's not just a Bandai thing. That's just like most card games come and go.
Oh, you just reminded me. I saw this, I think, last week. They're actually going to hold a regional style Gundam tournament within the next month.
A regional style one?
Yeah.
I mean, is it out yet?
It's no, of course not.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bandai is like regional season is like kicking back off again with their different card games. And so what they've done is they're holding a Gundam regional like the day before some of their other regionals. And it's only cards from the beta kits because those are the only cards that
So I guess
exist.
you would have had to have already gotten them cards, or are you
Yes.
going to be able to like buy them at the regional? in
I
any
have
way?
no idea.
Interesting. That sounds something about that. I don't want to say like rubs me the wrong way, but it does feel a little strange. I guess. I
mean,
don't know.
to some degree, I think it probably maybe needed to happen because Gundam cards entered the card gaming ecosystem way before the game was actually going to release. And I think at some point you have to give people a reason to own the cards.
Something to do with your cards. But I guess the reason is just going to come when the game comes out, right?
It's still, I mean, doesn't
still
change
like a
the
couple
fact
months
if you got
away,
the cards
so.
in January, you got to wait till July.
Right, yeah.
That's a long, dry wait. But there are actually only like 3 of these regionals.
Okay.
Like, period.
Oh, so like who's interesting? I guess like maybe that's fine. It's like it doesn't hurt anyone for them to do it. It feels like that's so exclusive though that it's like if you were involved in an early thing that was like 5 months ago, then you can go to this.
I mean, they've disseminated a few more those beta kits at different events and some shop stuff. So there are more than there were before. It's just when I read about these kind of pre-released Gundam regionals, my first thought was, oh my God, those vendor types are going to go crazy selling those beta cards.
Yeah, they'll be eating it up. Well, cool. I mean, we'll keep a finger on the pulse of the Gundam TCG as these.
I have to pay attention. I'm a Gundam fan.
As these events unfold. Is that all the card game stuff?
I have one last thing. I promise.
No. I love a good card game story. We had no Yugioh.
ICV2 put out their TCG Player Top 25 sealed product chart for April.
Oh, yeah. These are always fun. It's been a while.
Yeah. So, they put these out every month. At least I think they put them out every month. But so these are
or like every
are
quarter
the
maybe
top
or something.
25 sales for this past month. Not May, April. So, do you want to take a wild guess what game had the top spot for the top sealed product?
Top sealed product sold in April.
Yes.
So, regrettably, I don't actually think I've been keeping up as much with the release of some of these sealed things, but my guess is just going to be like a Pokemon thing, like Prismatic Evolutions or whatever, Evolving Skies, whatever it's called.
We're just saying whatever Pokemon names you remember at this point.
Well, these are fairly recent. Or Journey Together? Was that the one that we...
Journey Together is on the list.
Okay.
But
what is it?
But number 1 is actually Magic the Gathering's Tarkir Dragonstorm Collector Booster Box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Words mean things.
Words mean things.
I'm sorry. I know I like throwing these little jabs at Magic. I just don't know what the sets are. I'm not actually trying to say it's useless or bad or whatever. Anyway.
So it's interesting. So this site is actually ranking these products by market value or volume. Actually, I can't tell if it's market value or volume because it says the Tarkir Collector Booster set started the month off at $312 and ended at $363. But I know for a fact that is not the most expensive product on the market right now. But I'm guessing it's in volume as well.
Yeah.
It's made the most money in April. Number 2 is about what you expected, though. Pokemon's Destined Rivals Booster Box was their second highest selling product of
Destined
April.
Rivals. Okay, makes sense. That's the Team Rocket one? Or is that coming out? That's different.
I never can keep up with which one is which with Pokemon. I'm not going to lie to you. I never know. But I think that
I'll refer back to the live premiere chat. They'll tell me. They always know.
In number 3, and this one's a bit surprising to me only because I didn't think the set was that great. Quarter Century Stampede.
Oh, yay. Some Yu-Gi-Oh! In the top 3.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. I agree with you that I did not think that Quarter Century Stampede was amazing for me personally. However, I know a lot of people did enjoy the some of the QCR reprints and the retro pool stuff. So,
and then the rest of the list isn't too impressive because Magic hits up a couple spots after, and then back to Pokemon. Though it is interesting that a pre-ordered product made the list.
What is the pre-ordered product?
So, Final Fantasy's collector booster boxes.
Right, of course, yeah.
Which you guys are sick if you are buying the Final Fantasy collector's boosters to a point where they rank on this list. That's expensive.
I mean, people have the money and they're willing to spend it. They love their FF.
The box, at least at the start of April, these boxes are worth $600 per box. At the end of the month, $700.
I mean, I know the collector's boosters were like the MSRP for them was like something like $400
They
or something
they are
like that. Like, it's
expensive.
high.
The collector's boosters are not. They're really not meant for you to just be buying left and right. But it seems like people are doing it anyway.
Yeah, people are pre-ordering. So
They are eating those things up.
I always, I guess, put an asterisk by some of these TCG player sales things just because, you know, this is TCG player, which means that it is a site like for a Gundam.
It's a limited market.
Yeah, it's a limited market sort of sample size.
Mm-hmm.
But I do still think that it's a good indication of like what card games are doing well, what sets are hot, kind of what sets are not. Like if, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh set comes out and it's like not on the list at all, that's like not so good. So
It's interesting. One Piece is actually fairly far down this list with their Royal Blood booster box and then their Emperors in the New World booster box. Like that's down at number 20 and 15. I can only assume is that One Piece did not release a product in April.
That would have
That's
been
my
my
guess.
guess too.
You know what? I'm just gonna Google it really fast to see.
Because oftentimes that does indicate like, you know, if the product released that month, then it tends to get really strong sales. Whereas if it's
Right.
like, oh, maybe their last thing was like in, you know, the beginning of March, and now like there's just not something happening really in April, or maybe at the very end of April, or maybe early in May, or so on and so on and so on.
And the cycle continues. Okay, I'm looking at One Piece releases. So April actually,
Oh, did it have something?
it just had their. Oh, they had tins. I forgot One Piece got tins.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they got
Cool.
their One Piece card game 10 pack volume 1. And yeah, they didn't get any more new cards until, well, May. So yeah, they didn't have a product. That's why they didn't rank that high.
Right. Okay. Well, that's cool. If that's all the card game news, then we can get into what I'm going to kind of just call this little rapid fire gaming section, because there's just a lot of things.
Let's go.
And some of them are small, but they're fun tidbits. First and foremost,
Does this include all the like fan art I've seen of GTA 6?
I have not seen GTA 6 fan art, but I just heard a lot of talk about it.
I've seen a lot.
Okay.
Maybe this is more about me and my algorithm than anything else.
That's true. What was the fan art of?
You don't need to know.
Okay. Well, anyways, Sony considers PS5 price hikes to cover Trump's tariffs. So we're dipping right back into this tariffs bag again this week because Sony just announced its financial forecast for the next year, and it's expecting to be impacted by tariffs to the tune of 100 billion yen, or about $680 million. To compensate, the company says it's considering options, including moving manufacturing to the United States and increasing the prices for consumers. So, speaking to investors during the company's earnings call, Sony CFO Lin Tao confirmed that the company is considering passing on the price of tariffs in order to mitigate the impact on its bottom line. However, he did not mention the PS5 by name, so it's possible that Sony could try to protect pricing on its console through increases elsewhere in its electronics business. Worth noting, though, that Sony has already increased the price of the PS5 in the UK, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. So, the PS5 did get a call out from CEO Hiroki Totoki when discussing the possibility of moving manufacturing to the U.S. to avoid the brunt of Donald Trump's tariffs. He admitted that the console, quote, can be produced locally and that it was a strategy that has to be considered going forward. So, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I work in one of these factories and I build a PS5, I'm taking that PS5.
Good to know.
That's the energy I'm on. Like,
Yeah.
Think about it. In America, if you work in a factory, most of the time you're building something that you don't care about and you don't want. But we build PS5s.
You're building PS5s, you're going to make off with one. No, but in all seriousness, I do think that this is I do think that this is. I always try to like give you an easy out, some plausible deniability. Like, oh, he said just kidding after, and Alec was like, no, I was very serious. I will steal it. Okay. You know, they just announced the Xbox price increases like, you know, a couple weeks ago, and that was not received terribly well.
And we immediately said Sony will probably do the same thing.
And this to me is like, you know, I guess they aren't explicitly saying the PS5 is going to have price increases, but they are saying that they are considering price increases because they have to offset these tariffs somehow. And
I mean, they basically said we're not taking anything off the table.
yeah, everything stays on the table. This isn't a confirmation of anything, so I guess we can't have like a super strong opinion, but all I will say is that I would not be surprised one bit to see here in a month or two that little PS5 price increase announcement, where it's, something to the tune of like $100 more for everything.
Man, if I didn't have, if my PlayStation wasn't also my Blu-ray player, I would just sell that thing, make some money off it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too because like what happens when the already $700 PS5 Pro potentially gets like a price increase? Like, because I mean, that would
but
probably...
nobody needs a Pro, right?
We say that, but there's people who buy it. So
I feel like I always say things like this, but I really do feel like everyone who was going to buy a Pro
has already
done it.
I would hope so, but like, there's someone in the market for it. And the thing is, like, if like I'm thinking about how the Xbox price increases went up, where like it was roughly $100 and everything. The lowest tier Series S went up by like 80, and then like the highest tier Series X Cosmic Galaxy colorway or whatever with like 2 terabytes or something went up by like $130 instead. I think the $700 PS5 Pro unironically might like end up being like $850 or something, and it's just wild to hear that. But
at that point, I really think everyone should just start considering building PCs, because I mean,
yeah, I think at that point it's... Although I guess like the PC parts will all be expensive too.
Well, they are expensive, especially like GPUs and stuff. But with PCs, you can actually just set a budget and operate within it. Like if I say I don't want to spend more than $700 building a PC, I can just do it. But if they're increasing the price of these PlayStations, and that's the price you just have to pay. You don't get a choice. Like to be fair, my PC definitely costs well over $800, but that was a choice I made. I got to choose what I wanted.
Right.
We can all do it.
Well, anyway, here's something else. Universal accidentally announced the title of the next Mario movie. Here's like a very small mini story. Can you guess what the name of the next Mario movie is going to be? It's like the sequel to the...
Mario and Luigi?
No, it's Super Mario World.
Oh, that's lazy.
Yeah, I mean, you could have...
Well, the end of mine was lazy too.
But it'll work too. So anyways, Universal appears to have confirmed that the next Mario film will be titled Super Mario World. The title was included in a press release about upcoming movies, but apparently by mistake, since it was removed shortly after publication.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I guess this is one of those things where like it got a little shadow dropped, and they were like, "Oh, whoops!" The intern let the information.
They're gonna name it instead the Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it the name of the first movie?
I have no idea.
It was the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Okay, that's what.
Wait, did I see it?
Did you? I don't know. I saw it. I liked it. The Bowser Peaches song.
Oh, I did see it.
Yeah, that was. Like
I'd honestly forgotten. I didn't see Sonic. That's why I didn't see.
Yeah, which is a real shame because I think Sonic 3 was probably a better movie.
There's 3 of them?
Yeah, well, you know.
Wait, no, I seriously thought there were only 2.
Okay, well, there's 3. Anyway, yeah,
what
so that's
happened in
the
the
name
second
of it.
one?
The second one's the one where he meets Tails and Knuckles.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The third
one.
one's like Shadow. So.
God, they move fast.
I mean, not really. Anyway, whatever.
I saw the first one.
So have you heard about this Kingdom Hearts thing?
The
Kingdom Hearts mobile game? Well, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link was a game.
Still missing?
Yeah, it's very missing now.
Oh.
The development team put out a notice saying that we have made the decision to cancel the development of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. They have this little story where they say they're conveying a heartfelt apology and so on and so forth. We worked hard on developing and adjusting the game, but we determined that it would be difficult for us to offer a service that players would find satisfactory over a long period of time, leading to the decision to cancel development. So I didn't know what this was. I did a little bit of brief background research. This is apparently like a Kingdom Hearts sort of like mobile live service game that was happening.
Not surprised.
And I guess now it's not. But it was in development for approximately like 5 or 6 years. So,
while I think it's a shame that Square put so much time and money and effort into making this game, I'm actually glad it got shut down. I'm one that I champion such things. Anytime we exit the live service market, even if it's before we enter, I'm happy with that, honestly. We don't want or need live service Kingdom Hearts. We want and maybe need Kingdom Hearts 4. That's nobody when they played Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, or 3 said, "Boy, I can't wait to play this for free on my phone."
Yeah, it's interesting because when you trace back the timeline here, basically it sounds like about 6 years ago, it kind of tracks with how things would have been going. Maybe like, if 6 years to be believed, that'd be like maybe roughly 2019 or something. I can see where they would think like, oh, we should turn this into like a phone game, Like people would probably like a little live service game on their phone. Particularly if this was like an early COVID kind of decision. Mm-hmm. Like people are in their houses, they might play, they're on their phones more often. This could be like a money-making thing. We'll make it a live service. Was it supposed? I don't know that much about it. Was it supposed to be like a gotcha game or like?
Probably. I mean, what isn't nowadays?
Yeah,
because like it's not Kingdom Hearts isn't really like a shooter, so it's not a freemium shooter. They could do like a Genshin Impact style game.
Oh, okay. This looks like this is just like kind of a little. Yeah, I was looking at like this was an event schedule for their closed beta that was like this time last year basically. And so it looks like it's just one of those like mobile games where like you just kind of have like units and they fight. And
I wonder if it was card based. A lot of them are.
Gives idle game vibes to me, to be honest.
I mean, that's nobody could have went with it as well. Regardless, it's gone and done with. Someone probably proposed, hey, wouldn't it be like cheaper and arguably more profitable to just put Sora in Fortnite?
Funny enough, you're right. Like they probably could do that.
I mean, there are currently no Final Fantasy characters in Fortnite. But I think at this point, every business, every corporation knows that like
get that character in Fortnite.
Get them in Fortnite.
The kids will care then.
The kids will care. They'll know. And I'm not gonna lie, if I can get Sora shooting a Keyblade at somebody,
right?
Well, actually, he wouldn't shoot with the Keyblade. His Keyblade would be the pickaxe. That'd be fire. I'm not gonna lie. I'm with it.
Well, they do reassure us though that the Kingdom Hearts series will continue. We are hard at work on Kingdom Hearts 4. And hope you'll continue to support the series as you keep an eye out for further updates. So that's nice of them. At least they're like, hey, listen, we're done with this mobile shit, but the actual game you want is happening. So,
I mean, I'm hoping that this reverberates throughout the entire gaming industry. That
please stop your weird live service money making scheme.
Yeah, we have enough on our plate here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Like I started a new live service game just the other week.
Oh, what did you start?
SD Gundam G Eternal on the mobile.
Oh yeah, you've
I've been having so much fun.
Yeah, it's tough to survive in the live service climate. If we believe their reasons that they gave, it's just like they just couldn't find a way for it to maybe be like fun long term.
Like Azure Lane, very little Nikkei. Haven't played any Zenless. I've been too busy playing Gundam.
It's kicking you off your like old gaming waifu girl games.
I don't have enough time.
Yeah, you gotta like fight to get all the mobile games in.
Like I barely got on Snowbreak.
Oh, you still play that? Interesting.
I don't really play it. I just I kind of got bored, and I was like, oh look, Snowbreak's updating on my computer. I didn't ask it to.
Well, interesting. Next little miniature quick gaming story. Tekken 8 director reveals that he does plan to add a Waffle House stage to Tekken. So you guys remember this has been like kind of a thing people have joked about wanting for a while. And
you guys can't see if you're on audio only, but I'm giving Paul like a skeptical look.
Oh, you doubt it? Yeah, Tekken director Katsuhiro Harada has revealed his plan to add Waffle House to the game as a stage. However, this is despite the chain not actually getting back to him. So for over a year, Tekken fans have requested the Waffle House stage as a stage in the iconic fighting game, and Harada has been listening. So for those who don't know about Waffle House, because there actually are people who don't.
Well, I mean, I think the reputation of Waffle House is like an American
There's like
thing.
people in the UK who are just like, what the fuck is this? I figured you should see the internet memes would have told you.
But I mean, they've never been to a Waffle House. At least I don't think. They probably have some weird name in the UK, like...
Yeah, well, anyways, I don't even think they are in the UK.
Biscuit House.
Biscuit House.
I don't know. Crumpets. I don't know what you guys eat over there. Guys,
on May 12th, Harada responded to a fan's inquiry about the potential of Waffle House. This fan said, if we can't get that house name license, how about we call it Hustle House, he asked. Doesn't that make sense to everyone? And fans overwhelmingly agreed. And, some people said call it Tekken House. Everybody would still recognize it and love it. Harada further stated that over the past year, he tried to make contact with Waffle House and fully understood why fans wanted the chain added in as a stage.
All you gotta do is watch a few videos online and you get it.
Yes, he says, over the past year or more, I've actually tried to make contact through several different channels. However, and this is purely my own speculation, Harada saying, I suspect that the lack of response may be due to the fact that the project I'm known for revolves around fighting-themed video games. So I guess that kind of makes sense. Maybe Waffle House wouldn't want literally own the reputation of being a place where everybody just fights outside in the parking lot.
Or inside.
Yeah, he said, that said, if suggested earlier, using a different name or format is acceptable, as long as the core message is maintained, then I'd be willing to seriously reconsider and explore the stage again. Now, here's a funny tweet that I remember seeing, and I don't actually have it pulled up. Do you remember that old fight of like the Waffle House chair like getting thrown at the lady?
How can I forget?
And she like...
I think about this video in my dreams.
He quote tweeted that video and said, nice parry.
Wow.
That's all he said. I was like, oh my God, this guy's a legend. So, soon you'll be able to like fight outside of Hustle House or Tekken House.
Throw a stool at somebody.
Whatever.
So, I mean... And Tekken's known for like, because it's a 3D fighter, so the environments, the map, they play like a fairly big role in like how you fight. Having a fight inside of a restaurant would be fun. And because they have like the stage transitions, it'd be fun to like kick someone through a window, and now you're in the parking lot, dinging my car and driving off. I know who you are. I know.
Right. Okay.
That's where that dinging my car comes from. I was at a Waffle House.
Well, speaking of Japanese developers and their opinions and thoughts on games, here's one from Hideo Kojima. He has an amazing idea for a forgetting game.
Oh, okay. I did see this headline.
Yeah, where the main character gradually forgets important information and abilities if you take too long a break from playing.
Abilities is sick. Actually, no. The important information is probably the biggest problem.
What do you think of that just before we even get into his quotes? Like just the idea of like, okay, you haven't played Stellar Blade for like a month, and so Eve's forgotten how to use a few techniques and stuff.
That's a serious problem because those are literally the things that we all forget when we take breaks from games. We forget how to do certain things. We forget certain mission objectives. I remember in old games that didn't constantly remind you of where you are in the story. Returning to them as a kid was such a pain because the only way to figure out where you left off was to just talk to every single NPC and try to go everywhere, hoping to trigger something that'll like start the story back up again.
Well, Kojima is no stranger to gameplay mechanics that make use of your console or PC's internal clock as a timer. He starts out by mentioning two examples from 2004's Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on the PS2. To add to the realism of surviving in the jungle, the fresh food you'd acquired would go off after a few days had passed in real life. Eating rotten food could make Snake violently sick, or you could turn spoiled food into a novel weapon by throwing it at hungry enemy soldiers.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I never played that game. That's
the crazy part is, so these soldiers are so hungry, you throw some spoiled spam at them, and they're like, food.
Another fun example, actually, that he mentions is Metal Gear Solid 3's cat and mouse boss battle against Elderly Sniper at the end. He says, although he's a really tough boss, if the player waits a week, the end will die of old age.
Wow.
Yeah, and indeed, if the player loads their in-battle save at least 1 week later, they'll be treated to a cutscene in which Snake discovers that the end is dead.
So Snake just gets there late and he died.
Yeah, so I thought that's kind of neat. I guess the idea of, you don't play this game for a while and something happens and changes. Like, it's interesting because like this has technically existed in games like Animal Crossing, right? Like literally just uses an in-game timer. But having it in like something that might be more of like an action combat style game seems different.
And we're not talking about just the games like just the in-game timer within the game. It's a timer. It's a real world timer, or it's a clock in the game that keeps track of the real time. So because in a lot of games, if I turn it off, or I save and turn it off, I can come back a month later. No in-game time has passed. But in this case, the game will rectify the discrepancy between its time and your console's time.
Yeah.
And immediately now it's a week later in that game's time. That'd be stressful.
Here's a few more quick things he says. He's got 3 game concepts that have the passing of time in real life as a major mechanic. The first is a kind of game of life. It starts out with a player being born. You're a child, and then gradually over time you become an adult. In the game, you fight various enemies. Like the previous example with Metal Gear Solid 3 is the end. If you keep playing the game, you will become a 70 or 80-year-old man. However, at this age, you will be weaker, your eyesight will worsen. When you're a teenager, you'll be able to run faster, but by the time you reach 60, you'll slow down a bit. So, yeah, Kojima explains, revealing that although your character will be in better physical condition when they're younger, they'll have more knowledge and expertise when they're older. So this aging would affect your strategy as to how to deal with enemies.
I don't need my games to be that realistic.
He says another idea he mentions is a game where you're creating something that takes time to mature, such as wine or cheese. This requires the player to continually, gradually play it over a long period of time, and it sounds like it would work as a background or idle game.
I feel like we are stretching the idea of what a game can be.
And then well, because like technically a lot of this stuff does exist though. Like Animal Crossing again, like had some of that element to it.
I don't want to.
Not the aging.
I don't think making cheese is a game. I'm sorry.
On the flip side, Kojima also proposes a forgetting game. That's the one from the headline, where the player would have to play through it quickly. In this concept, the main character gradually forgets important information and abilities if you take too long a break from the game. For example, if you don't play every day, the main character will gradually forget things such as how to fire their gun or what their job is. The forgetfulness builds up until finally the player is unable to move. Players would have to take a week off of work or school to play it, Kojima laughs.
That would be impossible to work with. You know, I've played Spider-Man like 3 times in the last 2 years.
Oh, God.
If that were a system in Spider-Man, like
Miles just forgets.
Peter would have forgotten he's Spider-Man. He'd be
Yeah.
like, what am I wearing this suit for? What is this?
Well, I think that as a game concept, it's cool to know there are developers who are like brainstorming these ideas. Would it really be, I mean, you know, okay, I'm going to try to give it its due here. Just the idle game thing kind of already exists. Like there are games that just want you to play every day. But I think that the idea of a game that you have to like quickly finish seems the most interesting because it kind of goes against what a lot of the gaming industry really wants out of players in this world of live service games. I want you like playing every day over the course of months or whatever and like always logging in and getting your dailies. The idea that you have to kind of like hurry and like finish this game, like take basically, you know, a weekend and like zoom through it or like take the time off work or whatever. Because like if you just start it today and then you have to go to work for like a week or whatever and then you don't get to play until next weekend, you've forgotten some shit.
Look, I don't know if I can handle that. There's a lot of games where like, you know, games will have like quick time events or story-based events where if you take too long, the game takes it out of your hands. Yeah. Those types of situations, like I can't handle that. Whenever I get approached with a decision in a video game, I need to be like pause it, walk away, and really rethink about my life's decisions before I make my choice. Depending on how important it is, I think even longer on it. But there are these games where it'll be like, do you help the boy or do you shoot him? And I'll be like, I don't know what I should do. And then I'll like walk away to go to the bathroom while thinking. And then I'll come back and like my character's like pull up the trigger and like we've moved on in the story. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I need time. I don't think on my feet like that.
I don't think that it would be like even like that. Like I think it's less of a quick time. Like you have like 5 seconds to decide. I think it's just more like
it's the fact. My thing is time passing at all in my game is a problem.
Oh, I
need an unlimited amount of time with my game.
But there's some immersion in that, I feel.
I don't want to immerse like that.
You don't want to be immersed.
No.
Okay. I want to hear what the audience thinks. Like, would you like a game where it's like, okay, you got to like beat this fast because if you don't, like things start.
I mean, you remember Detroit Become Human?
Yeah, I know. That was fun.
We didn't get through the barrier fast enough, and then
the girl died.
He killed the girl. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, there's a spoiler if you haven't played Detroit. Anywho, yeah, well, here's the next one. So, HBO Max, or as it's just called, Max, is changing back to HBO Max.
You're kidding me.
That's the headline. Yeah. Max, the streaming platform owned by Warner Brothers, is changing its name back to HBO Max.
I finally got used to calling it Max.
You did? Ew. I feel like everyone just called it HBO Max anyway, right?
You didn't even have an HBO Max subscription. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, Max launched in the streaming services boom in the early 2020s with hopes of exclusively hosting Warner Brothers and HBO's library of movies and TV shows and competing against Netflix and Prime. That's your old SEO headline. Anyway, it was originally called HBO Max as it succeeded both HBO Now and HBO Go. 3 years later, following Warner Media's merger with Discovery, it was officially rebranded to Max in an effort to be welcoming to all and easily recognizable, including kids and families. Now, Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav has announced that the platform is changing its name again, only this time it's going back to HBO Max. So, yeah.
They probably just found it didn't make a difference.
I think it probably just made things worse. Like, I really do think that calling it Max just takes away the recognizability, because with HBO Go or HBO Now or HBO Max, you still know it's HBO.
Right.
And that's kind of, I think, how, at least when I was a kid, I'd hear about like people watching HBO or whatever. But calling it Max, just, I didn't like that change. I didn't think that was a good one.
Those like those more premium channels like HBO, Stars, Cinemax, like those names, at least for my generation, those carry real weight to them. That means something.
Right.
If I tell my mom, just download HBO Max, while she doesn't know much about streaming platforms, that's an easy one to wrap her head around because HBO was a real channel. If I tell her, hey, Mom, download Max, she's going to look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what is
It's
Max?
like if Netflix made like, okay, we're going to make like Netflix Go and Netflix Ultra, and then we take off the Netflix and we just keep Ultra.
Or Flix.
Yeah, and like subscribe. No. Just Netflix Ultra, and then we just call it
you're
Ultra.
Right, because
like literally,
Max, yeah.
the word Max isn't
It's not
a part of the
indicative of
brand.
anything.
It's just an intensifier word. Like this HBO like Pro
To
and
the
whatever.
max.
But when you take out the brand from it, then you're just saying like, yeah, subscribe to Pro,
That's true.
subscribe to Go or whatever. It's like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Like there's literally physical products called like, this is the iMac Ultra Pro Max or whatever. This is the Samsung Ultra, whatever. So it's like just calling it Max doesn't mean anything for people.
It would be like if Amazon Prime was just Prime.
Amazon, at least in their case, they've managed to just about get it to where most people do associate the word Prime with Amazon.
But if I told you,
still, you're right.
If I told you just go to Prime, watch it on Prime, like buy it on Prime.
Yeah, it still doesn't quite work. Like
I think with Prime Video you might be okay since
true.
That one is pretty easy. But I feel like I can't tell someone to go buy me like a gas can on Prime. Wait, isn't Prime also the name of that drink?
Prime, yeah, that is.
That's Logan Paul's brand.
Yeah, Logan Paul KSI is like.
Guys, I tried Prime once. It's disgusting.
You didn't like it?
Horrible.
It's so delicious. I love it. I drink it every day.
I've never seen you hold a bottle.
I know, I've never. You know what seemed like really weird and gross to me is when they were doing like those Lunchly things, like the little Lunchable.
Oh, that was the little collaboration deal, right?
With like Mr. Beast, and it was like Lunchly, and they were like giving kids a little bottle of Prime inside of there. Something about that just seems.
Teachers must have hated those.
Something about that just seems like kind of gross, but I won't say more because I haven't had a bottle of Prime. And I don't ever intend to.
I'll say it. It's just a bottle of sugar, and it is not. It's just nasty.
Not good. Well, guess what?
What's up?
You know what's some good news?
What's that?
AMC will be slashing prices on Wednesdays by 50% starting in July. I
saw this one too.
You did see this?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't know why they're doing it.
I'm rapid firing. So the goal is to get more people into theaters between weekends. So it sounds to me like maybe the issue that they're perhaps having is that people come to the theaters, I guess, on weekends.
Just Friday night.
And they're probably trying to like better justify keeping these theaters open during the week.
Yeah, I do feel like it must be hard to justify even having a theater open on a Wednesday. I mean, not everyone is just off on weekends. So for some people, they do go to movies on the weekdays. I just don't think that's many.
Yeah, like I know one thing is, a lot of people like, what is it called? Like matinee.
Yeah,
like that kind of early day showings.
For the old folk.
Yeah, it's usually for older people who are, they're retired, so they're able to make it in time. Or also even like when kids go on field trips, those will oftentimes be matinee showings.
Yeah, I forgot that people even see movies like while the sun is out.
I know.
It was so bad. I remember, I think it was for Christmas, my family went to go see The Color Purple. But it was so weird because we went at like 11 a.m.
Yeah, we went on a Christmas day. We went and I think that's when I saw Spider-Man. What's the most recent one? No Way Home? It was a few years ago now. But like, yeah, when No Way Home was like out, I remember it was like Christmas Day and like we kind of didn't have anything else to do. And so we're like, okay, let's go see a movie. And we saw like Spider-Man. But we saw it at like noon or something.
Yeah,
So
so I was like, oh man, I didn't even realize like the lights in here worked.
I know. It's cool because, like, technically speaking, when you see a movie in the day or at night, it doesn't change anything for the movie experience itself, since like the theater's
It's dark,
completely
there are no
darkened and all that.
windows.
But
There's only one emergency exit, so know where that is.
it does suck when you like walk out of the theater and the bright sunlight blasts your eyes.
Oh yeah,
it sucks.
That was my experience as a kid because when Alex and I were young, our dad would always just drive us to the movie theater and drop us off, and then go do God knows what.
No, I think that
we found out later he was up to nefarious things with other women.
You're gonna get that one off, okay? Well, anyway,
my dad doesn't
I think
watch this
the
podcast.
reason why they want the movie theater tickets to be cheaper in the middle of the week is really though probably because like they have to like they still have these teenagers who are working at the theaters, and they have to pay them if they could keep the lights on. Because the theater, they don't just want the theater to be open like literally Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and no other day. Like maybe they want, like I'm sure some theaters
it might be a waste of
that.
real estate.
But yeah, like there's probably, they have to pay so much for just electricity and like real estate and all that stuff. So I think that their goal is that they do want to try to like get some people in there in the middle of the week and just, this is the way to do it, half price tickets.
They should just knock down the theaters and we go drive-in style.
That would be fun. Although, like, I don't know. I feel like something about drive-through theaters in today's world, it feels like people, like, it's not that much different than, like, sitting in a theater with people. And I feel like something about it, like, it maybe just feels too, like, open in public and people aren't, like, ready for that.
I actually feel the opposite. I feel like sitting in a theater is open in public. I like to sit in my car by myself. I'm not next to nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to share an armrest. The gum on the floor is mine. It's not someone else's.
Now, here we're... I know theater. Ugh. I actually hate that when I'm in a movie theater and like the floor is just so messy. Like, have you ever seen those like TikToks or whatever reels and stuff where it's like person like cleaning the theater after showing of like this last Marvel movie or Wicked or whatever?
That sound nasty.
And like it'll just be and it'll be like a movie theater worker who I guess they set up their phone and they just show like how much just like popcorn and like packaging and candy and stuff they just sweep up from like all through those seats after a day.
They probably sweep up like thousands of dollars worth of snacks.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. And more importantly, though, I wanted to read a couple of the things that people had to say about this. One person's response was, how about keep a movie longer than 1 week?
Yeah, they move fast.
That is something that is true, and I think everybody can agree. I don't know. I mean, I know why this is. But like
streaming, baby.
Shit stays in movie theaters for like maybe you get 2 weeks sometimes, it feels like. And then like it's immediately on Disney Plus or whatever. And like I think that the movie should stay in the theaters a little longer.
I mean, if the movie industry is suffering the way it is, it probably doesn't pay to leave them in the theater that long.
Yeah, like, because for me, I think that there's certain... It almost feels like it, like, it further accelerates this, like, hyper-fast consumption culture where, you gotta, like, see the movie, like, unreleased weekend and then quickly have your opinion and quickly argue and then, like, quickly move on to the next thing you're supposed to care about.
True.
And I think that maybe like technically the theaters might want it that way because I guess there's like a sense of urgency, like hurry and go see it now. But I've had situations where I sometimes hear about a movie and it's just not like top of mind for me, but I want to go see it. I just literally can't see it release weekend. Does that like happen to you?
All the time.
Yeah.
But that's what in-flight movies are for.
That's true. Because what I was going to say is like, basically, if you don't see that shit in the theater in the first like 2-3 weeks, it's there.
Catch it on American or Delta Airlines.
You're supposed to watch it on streaming, but I just forget about shit. Like when a movie goes to streaming, I'm just not watching it on there. I'm not like I don't go on streaming platforms to watch movies. Do you? Does anyone like?
I mean, I think a lot of people watch movies on streaming.
I think that when I go to streaming platforms for movies, it's like a very old movie. Not like something that is not like okay. Movie came out in May. I'm going to watch it in streaming on June. Like, I'm talking about, it's got to be like at least some years old.
Me, personally, if I want to see a movie, I catch it in theaters so I don't have to watch it on streaming. If I didn't see it in theaters, then I probably just don't really want to see it.
Yeah. And so really at that point, it comes down to maybe it's on a flight.
That's in-flight movies. Maybe.
Yeah, it's some in-flight movie. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just like I agree with the comment. And the second comment I wanted to point out is that somebody said, it's not your ticket prices, it's the $15 popcorn and the $10 drinks and candy. So people like buying from the concession stands. Movies makes movie night a better experience, but not when you can't afford it. People would rather stay home. So yeah, I do think that this is a valid point too, because it's like, well,
you just sneak your snacks in. They don't have enough security to stop you.
I do think movie theaters are completely like giving a shit about whether or not you sneak your stuff in. But still, though, that said, I think that for a lot of people, they want that like movie theater popcorn thing, and
that's
whatever.
true. You can't really sneak in your own entire bucket.
But and so even if like the ticket price is half off, it doesn't really change anything if like the snacks are still a gajillion dollars.
I do remember seeing this old sketch about a guy who snuck in his own like popcorn kernels. And during the movie, he tried to like warm up the popcorn like it was crack. He had a little spoon, he had a lighter, trying to like pop the corn.
Yeah, pop the corn like in the middle of the theater. Oh God, how did that work out for him?
Not well.
Would imagine not. So yeah, AMC is lowering their ticket prices, Alex. So now you'll finally be able to go see those movies you always wanted to see on a Wednesday.
All right, on a Wednesday, guys. Date night is now Wednesday night.
Yes,
that should be their slogan. They should work with that. They should shop that. See
half
how it
off
goes.
at AMC's.
Take your girl out half off.
Got
she
any
doesn't
other,
have to know.
Any other stories for you? Yes, no, maybe so.
Turn it upside down. Got to turn it back on. I have nothing.
Okay, cool. Because I've got more. So here's our next one. This one's another like quickie story. YouTube is testing out blurred thumbnails. I don't know if you've ever.
Oh, I had this story last week, but then we got busy.
Okay, yeah. So YouTube is apparently testing out blurred thumbnails for mature content.
Ooh.
The experimental feature is being tested as a way to provide a safer search experience for all users. So yeah, it's going to begin blurring the thumbnails and search results for some queries that, quote, frequently include sexual themes. They've rolled it out already to a small percentage of viewers. There's no specifics about what sexual themes might trigger a search to return a list of videos with blurred thumbnails, but YouTube says that the video's title, channel name, and description would still remain visible. And viewers will have the option to unblur thumbnails.
It'll be interesting because there's already been like pushback on like YouTube's like auto censorship for like flagging content for being like sexual in nature when it isn't. And so now you're telling me they're gonna auto blur thumbnails based on what they deem as sexual?
Well, I guess it's based on, according to them, it is based on search queries that typically bring up sexual content. Now, what I'm wondering is it just like, okay, if I search for a query that I guess is associated with like sexual content, will just every single search result all be blurred, or will it just be like the vids that are then deemed?
But
like some vids will be blurred and some won't.
If someone's searching a query that is often sexual, then they likely want to see the thumbnails.
I think their goal here is maybe just to protect kids who accidentally are searching for something that they didn't know was sexual, and like it just
like if a kid's searching for twerking, I think they know what they're in for.
Maybe not. Maybe the kid just plays like Marvel Rivals and sees like the twerking emo, and they're just like looking for that.
Don't do Venom like that. Don't.
But then like it turns out like what they see is something much worse. So to be clear, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here. I mean, I think that like blurring thumbnails kind of seems. I mean, creators put a lot of work into thumbnails, so it would suck to just have it blurred, particularly if it was, and this often happens with YouTube, if it was like mistakenly flagged, like what you were saying, like, people are always talking about how like things get flagged, and so it's like, if your video's thumbnail's blurred and because like it thinks that there's, that gets a bit messy.
I think if creators could opt into the blurring, I wouldn't have as big of an issue with it. But like auto blurring for people searching what they choose to search.
True. Now, unlike Google's safe search feature, this does not omit results. So the results will at least be there, and you'll be able to see exactly what the video like is. Like it's still got the name and all that. You can't see the thumbnail. You just don't see the thumbnail, so.
Which I don't care for that. Thumbnails are important to YouTube video visibility.
Yeah, I agree. Although, hot take, I feel like if a thumbnail was blurred, I'd like maybe just be more likely to click it because it's like
But if every video on that feed
now,
is
everyone,
blurred,
that's what I was wondering because is it some or is it all? Because if it's all, then like okay, well that kind of sucks, and also it's dumb because like you said, like you know what you were searching for, and they're all blurred. It's like okay, well, who's that really protecting? But if it's some, then I feel like you get like that Streisand effect where it's just like they're telling you like you're not supposed to see this, so like
that's true.
You'll just be more likely
Maybe
to click it.
we should start including like tags that could be sexual in the videos so that when people search for like Yu-Gi-Oh content, our videos show up blurred.
Yeah, they're
and
blurred.
they're like,
It's
ooh, what's this?
Yeah, kind of
It's
salacious.
Like, hey guys, today we're doing a mystery box challenge.
Yeah, and I guess like the mystery box we could somehow imply that that's like sexual, and then YouTube will think, I don't fucking know. But the idea seemed cool.
What if we blur our own thumbnails? Let's just start doing that.
Yeah. The thumbnails are just blurry images. That like low key could work. I feel like it just pissed people off, but like
I think
the
it should
thought's
be
interesting.
like a badly blurred image of where you can still tell it's like my Valentine. But like, that's a thumbnail, no context.
Yeah, so I thought that was just kind of a neat story. I want to hear from the listeners. Would you be like more or less likely to click on a blurred YouTube thumbnail? Just an interesting thing. Anyway, though, here's something else that's fun. So, you know that we love talking about AI on this podcast. It's our favorite topic.
I want to disagree, but I guess I don't dislike talking about it.
Well, Meta has released its Meta AI app. And apparently it's just kind of awful.
Meta AI app?
Yeah, so you know how like on Facebook and Instagram already, you can like use AI features. Sometimes they're really annoying to be fucking honest. A little tangent on that.
Oh,
like,
they're
you know
so
when like
invasive.
you're just on the Facebook app and like you're just if you want to search for anything, it immediately tries to like treat your search as just like an AI like thing. Same for Instagram, same for whatever. It's intrusive on messages because when you're trying to like message people, it's like, oh, do you want to like write this with AI? Oh, did you mean to like prompt what you're saying to your friends as an AI picture generation or whatever? Yeah. So
okay, I see. This is like ChatGPT.
Yeah, so it's like an app that you can download, and they just recently released it. And they say that if you took Pinterest, mashed it together with everything annoying about Threads, and sprinkled generative AI prompts on top, that pretty much sum up the newly launched Meta AI site's social feed. So yeah, it's basically this social feed from what I can tell of just people just posting just AI slop. Like here they have like screenshots, I guess.
Do I want to see this?
It's nothing. I mean, it's just AI junk. Like it's people
because this is what I think they should be blurring. Like sexual stuff, I know what I searched, but AI, I didn't ask.
Yeah, it just says okay. Here's basically how they kind of describe it. So far, prompting AI chatbots, like the questions and requests that you can make, has been primarily a private affair. You pull up ChatGPT, Claude, never heard of Claude, or Gemini, type in your prompt, and whatever it spits out is for your eyes only, unless you take a screenshot and terrorize the world by posting your AI experiments online. But not with the Meta AI site. Here, you can share your AI results with just 2 clicks. So the result is a fascinating microcosm of the human AI experience, and specifically how so few people know what to do with generative AI. So, like, I guess the idea is you go on here, you generate some shit, talking banana with, like AI prompt. It generates you
that was so badly generated, Paul. I think you need AI.
Yeah, I need AI. Please give me ideas for prompts. And I guess it prompts you an image, and then you can, like, just share what you're just supposed to share what you generated, along with what the prompt was. And that's like part of your profile.
Guys, I'm gonna let you know right now, if you share an AI image with me, you're being blocked.
So, yeah.
I almost blocked my mom.
They say, scroll the feed and you'll find an odd assortment of Pinterest-like cards. The vast majority are experiments with AI generation. Some are simple queries. A few feature folks experimenting with AI gotchas, like how many letter R's are there in the word strawberry? Which apparently, like, it can't typically get that right. Browse for a bit and you'll find the feed refresh and resurface the same few posts over and over again. I've seen this user's post, they link to somebody featuring food-themed fashion shows at least a dozen times. So yeah, taken all together, the social feed feels more like a poster for all the complaints people have about AI. Take this prompt asking Meta AI to imagine a room without a clown in it. And the final result is a picture of a deranged clown sitting on a living room couch.
But I thought the prompt would be that there isn't a
Like
clown
that's
in the room.
But it's just one of those things where if I tell AI, you know what it actually is? It brings me back to that whole like AI gaslighting thing where like if you ask AI for advice or you ask it for like, why is my whatever hurting or just all these things, it will always kind of like affirm you first and just tell you like, yeah, that's right, Alec. It is normal and common to feel jealous when your ex gets with somebody else. Here's some ways to get around that. Like it always has to kind of first gaslight you.
Hit them with a shovel and then bury them 3 feet down.
And so I think whenever you're like, okay, this query literally says like, make a room without a clown in it. You can make the room however you want, whatever style you want, but do not put a clown in the room. And then like it puts a clown in the room because it still, I guess, isn't able to distinguish what that means. It just saw the word clown and like a clown's got to be in the room because it said do not put a clown in it, but that has the words clown in it. So like it just
ignores the do not part. It doesn't know what to do with the word not, even though like not is a very like, in my understanding is not's a very like basic part of like programming language and syntax. So it's weird that it would miss that.
Yeah, now there's a funny one. There's also this extremely detailed image request for a sultry Asian beauty exuding bad girl energy at night. And you can even see the 13 user attempts to get it just right.
Oh, so, Jesus. Yeah, I want to see this.
This is the sultry Asian beauty. I'll make sure to put an image on screen.
Sure.
And you can see their prompt says, literally this is their prompt. I'm going to read it out.
Okay.
Ethnicity, Asian beauty. Hair, long, straight black hair in ponytail. Voluptuous, curvy hourglass figure. 5'3" measurements. 48, 25, 50. Big hips.
Wow.
Thick, big thighs. Outfit, dark wash, high-waisted jeans with a skin-tight fit, paired with a plunging black bodysuit tucked in, showing off a snatched waist and full hips. Jesus. Topped with a leather motto jacket draped over the shoulders. So, pose and setting, standing beside a car at night under streetlight glow, jacket sliding down one shoulder, lips glossed, stare locked. Almost done. Vibe, bad girl energy, bold, sexy, and completely in control. Vibe, minimalist but magnetic, clean, confident, and pure fire. So, that is this person had a very detailed prompt.
I was like, why does this sound like Pan Am from Cyberpunk?
It's interesting because, like, I guess...
Wait, let me see the picture again. I'm curious, like, how much the AI got out of it.
I think there's other pictures that are, like, cut off where you can kind of, like, see like other things. But I guess, like, it generates you multiple images, and I guess you can, like, pick something maybe to share, but it looks like there's other things that it generated. What's weird is, like, part of me is like, why would you want this to be public, I guess? Like, the query itself, like... I guess so people can like get inspiration.
I mean, I know a lot of people, they do when they in like the AI like image generation circles, people want to know what prompts you use to get certain results. So I guess it's like sharing in that community.
Low key, I feel like it just
low key like her jeans.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I feel like it's like exposing. It's like almost like a self-report of goonerism, where like you just read this prompt and this person is like Asian beauty, long straight black hair and like hot vibe, sexy, whatever. It's like I feel like you're just showing the world like Jesus Christ, bro. Like you're just typing.
But, I mean, that's social media in general. People have been pretty like honest with the goonery since really pre-COVID, honestly.
Yeah, I suppose so. So you signed up for this Meta AI?
Absolutely not.
So you said you'd sign up for the other one when we talked about it a few weeks ago, the little like the ChatGPT social media, and you were like, "I'm going to sign up." I mean, yeah, you were joking, I know, but
I can't do that. I can't do it. I don't like looking at AI images. It bothers me.
They actually make me sick. This is okay.
I've never seen you throw up because of an AI image.
Well, no, so not these specifically, although these are like already weird and uncanny. But I saw finally on DoorDash once, like restaurants that are using AI because they don't actually have like menu photos of things in their menu. Mm-hmm. And it just grosses me out. Like it makes me lose my appetite. when I see just like an AI like burger and fries or whatever, like chicken, rice, whatever thing, and it's like it's AI generated, and you know it is,
The
and
cheese is like in the burger patty and the bread. It's like there's no separation between the bun, the cheese, or the meat. It's all.
And for me, it's just that like weird like toy plasticky look that it
They love
gives,
that.
and I'm just like it. Like once it made me just close DoorDash. Like fuck it. Like I'm not even hungry anymore.
Order a pizza and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's like AI generated it's dumb.
But you don't need pictures to order pizza.
But at least you can know. But like, what's annoying for me is like it made me just not want to order anything because it just made me like
it's cheaper to go there
just
yourself.
Yeah. So, anywho, that's Meta's AI app. If anybody's interested, I guess you can download it or something, use it, have some fun. Anyway, though, I think that means it's
Time for some pot.
Remember, guys, you can submit questions to the Pot of Greed at the link in the description. I finally was able to fix our spreadsheet issue, I think. So, yeah. Also, before we get into this, I did want to mention we're going to be doing another Emptying the Pot episode.
Yeah, that's when we go through all the questions you guys have submitted, but not have necessarily made it into the pod itself. And we just kind of go back to back, answering as many as we can. The issue we found, though, is that some of your questions are quite long and they require very detailed answers. So we never get through as many as we want to, but that just means we have to make another episode.
Yeah, so if you ever have been considering leaving a question, this would be a good time to do it because we'll be recording that probably like next week and then it'll be shown the week after and so on and so forth. Anyway, what are our questions for this week?
All right, assuming I have the right keep note up because this one doesn't have a title on it.
Bottom.
Oh, wait, there it is. I see it.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you ever notice that when people quit card games or video games, they always blame it on the game changing for the worse and never just saying because their interests have changed? Why is that? Ooh, okay. People quitting card/video games and they say it's because the game changed. Well, I'm not going to lie. If we're talking live service games, because those are only games that are really applicable to card games, oftentimes the games do kind of change. I don't think it's a simple matter of like your interests change. I think if you like, if I like playing chess, I'm always going to like playing chess because the game never changes. Now, people might find that boring. And in that case, yes, if you stop playing chess, it's likely because your interest changed because the game can't change. But card games and a lot of live service video games, they do change and evolve over time. It's not just, their interests can change, but these are ever-changing games. I think it's very possible for a game to move in a direction that you just don't care for.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of somewhere in the middle with it. Like, I think that at least let's apply it to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's probably more so what this person might be referring to. Mm-hmm. Like they did mention video games too. I do think that like there are distinct points in Yu-Gi-Oh's history where a lot of people clearly like got off the bus. We oftentimes point to pendulum monsters, but it technically has existed as early as like just the introduction of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Right, like I don't like this Jaden kid. Give me back Yugi.
Hey, that's not my Yugi.
Not my Yugi. Right.
His name's not Yu. It's Jew.
But the thing is, I think in those cases it makes sense that people would like just quit if they feel like I guess a mechanic is overbearing. I think that's a problem that Konami kind of ran into a lot with introducing new summoning things like Synchro, Xyz, Link, Pendulum. Is that in order to promote the new mechanic, they would oftentimes ban or limit the strongest cards from the old mechanic and then conveniently make like all the new cards somehow incompatible with the previous thing. And it can just feel very like we are forcing you down the power creep.
They do force us down, but I've always looked at it as more of a gradual thing because I'm typically a first mover when it comes to or have been a first mover when it comes to new Yu-Gi-Oh! Mechanics. And usually the first run of those mechanics suck.
So here's what happens, at least in my experience. The first run, not impressive. Then it spikes. Like they've done this for pretty much all of them. So going back to like I think not as much with synchros. I guess the early synchros weren't amazing or anything, but the Stardust Dragon from the outset was a very powerful card. So it's certainly one good example. And so is Colossal Fighter. So like they were pretty strong out the gate. And that was like the 5D starter deck and like Duelist Genesis and stuff. And then Black Rose did not take much longer after to like show up too, and it was really good. But with Xyz monsters, I remember they were like fine at first. Utopia blocks an attack. Leviathan can get a little bigger. Gachi Guntetsu can protect you for a second.
I remember that whole time they were just, it felt like the synchro monsters were still more relevant than those early Xyz monsters.
The thing was, at that time, what they also managed to do though was like, I think Bryonic was like banned. Black Rose was like maybe limited or something. There were some other synchros that were banned, and like Trish and stuff. And they released cards like Tour Guide, which explicitly said, summon a level 3 fiend from your deck. It cannot be used as synchro material.
That was a common clause.
Yeah, that was a pretty common clause in a lot of cards at that time, which just goes to show like Konami's like, listen, in order to make this Xyz mechanic approachable and like workable, we have to make cards that summon other cards and get 2 monsters of the same level out fairly quickly, maybe from your hand or from the grave, but they have to be done in a way where like one isn't a tuner, or barring the ability to summon a tuner from your deck, like there's probably some level 3 fiend tuner that Tour Guide could summon, we will just straight up say it cannot be used as synchro material. So there's just been times they've had to do that. I know like Link monsters, probably most egregious one, although I guess Pendulums, you could argue they're both.
I don't know about. I mean, the spike for Pendulums is egregious, but remember, I played Pendulums the moment they came out, and they were horrible.
They were horrible, and then literally the next set was Cleefort.
But then that was only kind of Pendulums, right?
Like, yeah, that's true. But they used the Pendulum mechanic in a way that kind of allowed them to exploit their strength at the time.
It did. It really wasn't until we got into the Perform Age stuff where then we actually had to deal with what Pendulums could actually do, which was put out boards.
Yeah, consistent boards like over and over. I think with Pendulums, what scared people away probably was more just, and we discussed this at length, the look, half monster, half spell, double text box, weird scales, new zones.
Rulings.
Things don't go to grave, they go to extra, We've been down this road. I think for Lynx, the difference was that it was also Master Rule 4 at the time.
Yeah, that was rough.
Where it's like telling you, okay, so you finally got used to all these old mechanics. Now we're releasing these Link monsters that say, well, you can only use like one Xyz monster or one synchro, and if you want to make any more, then you're like forced to use this mechanic, and you got to put it in these zones that the thing points to. And we're also conveniently not going to make that many Link monsters that really have good zones for it. And
I think Lynx probably could have gotten over better if they were faster about releasing enough generic Lynx where everyone's favorite deck could start at least trying to do its things again. It was a shame just how many decks became invalid when Master Rule 4 came out.
It's funny because I always said that a simple way to make it more approachable would have been to just release all of the like Miss Starboy, kind of Mrs. Radiance cards, retrains, you remember those?
Yeah.
Just release them all at the start. They should have all been in one set. Because I remember they started with Mrs. Radiance as the first one, and that was conveniently around the time that Zodiac was sort of still around. So Zodiac was already a good deck, conveniently got a Link monster that allowed it to still sort of function pretty well. But like,
I forgot about Mrs.
You had to
Radiance.
wait a super long time. Like I think Wee Witch's Apprentice or something was like maybe the last one to come out. And it just, if you think about that over the course of 6 sets, that's a year and a half until they're all out.
And a year and a half, that's enough time for people to quit.
Yeah, that's more than enough time for people to quit. And then they did the thing with like Dual Overload or whatever, where they like made the Halki Fibraxes and all that stuff. And that just like took it into overdrive. And it's I don't know if they were ever really able to find a balance. And then they just made Master Rule 4 revision. And they're like, okay, fuck it, do whatever you guys want.
Because they were like, oh, we're going to limit all of like what your decks can do, but also Links are about to pop off in a way you've never seen. We had Gokis, we had FTKs, we had Spirals, and it's just like, okay, but I still can't play my Gladiator Beast deck.
Exactly. I hate exactly that. And, this isn't meant to be a Link rant, but I'll turn it into one and say that, like, I think Links have just been just like, it's so sad that Pendulum has taken this so much of the brunt of what seems like Konami's sort of disdain, like they just almost want to like erase pendulums from existence. I think that links have done far more harm. Like as a game mechanic, I really don't like what links represent.
What do they represent? I can't tell you what a link really is.
That's where the rant just begins, bro. The first thing is, what is the flavor? Like when I'm... So do you know the channel Tierzu? You maybe have seen one of his videos. I've seen Tierzu. I talked to Tierzu about this because he's actually like low-key kind of a retro Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and he always said that his least favorite part about like link monsters and even certain other summoning types is that he doesn't understand what's actually happening when you link summon. And it made me think, what is happening? Because he's like a flavor guy. He's in it for like, you know, the aesthetic, like what is... Immersively speaking, when I fuse two monsters using polymerization, I know what's happening. They're being fused together. Some new fusion monsters have lost a lot of that charm because, you know, they're kind of skipping it oftentimes or whatever. But with links, when you link off anything into anything else, like what are you doing? Is it just kind of disappearing into the ether and then a new monster is just there? Like, you know, I don't really understand. And it doesn't help then that like it also makes the whole context of arrows not like what are the link monsters arrows? Like what is that?
And it's like what are they pointing to? Who are they pointing to? Is there a reason?
Yeah, like in lore does it mean anything? Like
and it doesn't.
And like Apollosa has 4 arrows and they point in a certain way, but like what does that have to do with her? And in most cases, link monsters it's kind of arbitrary. It's just whatever needed to be done for card design. And that's all like kind of more on the aesthetic end of it. There's still just the fact that like Link 1s are broken and like, you know, Link 2s half the time are broken. And it just
has to be, otherwise why would we make them?
Yeah, and it's so simple. There's no like, oh, levels have to match. Nope. Tuner, non-tuner, add up levels. Nope. Proper fusion material. Nope. It's just like 2 monsters with different names. 2 effect monsters.
There was something cute to how they used to try and make the arrows pointing matter with like linking, co-linking. But so much bullshit came out around those times. If a deck was linking and co-linking, you were probably getting locked out the game or FTK'd.
Croaky, Gumblar thing, yeah. Spiral, lock thing. That's what I mean when I say, and I know that's like a little salty Link rant. I don't hate them. I have found link monsters I like. I use them in some of my decks. It's not like that. It's just that it feels like Konami was never actually able to like find the proper place for links. Like if somebody can point out a deck for me where it feels like they truly nailed that without it being just excessively powerful or exceedingly weak and not worth it. It feels like I was never able to find like much of a middle. So, and I'm trying to think of one. Like I guess Salamangreat was like a pretty good one. I
guess it depends on if you like Salamangreat, right?
Yeah, but I feel like that was kind of the only one because everything else just seemed so either hyper overtuned or hyper undertuned or whatever. But anyways, we've gotten far off from the actual question. Why do people tend to blame the game?
I think games do change.
I think it comes down to, for me, that like people just, because I think you're ultimately right. I think that games change. I think the reason people have issues with games changing is because your favorite games, books, movies, shows, music, on average, as a human being, tends to be the thing you like. The thing you like the most is like when you got into said thing.
Right.
Your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh format was probably the first format where you started going to regionals and stuff. Mm-hmm. Your favorite, music from this given artist was probably just around the time you found that artist because that's when you fell in love with them. And now you feel like, several years on, they've lost their touch. They've changed their style. It's not what it used to be. And so like it's a mixture of you probably changing as a person because your interests did change. And as it happened, they just diverted from like the also changing interests or message of that music artist, that game series.
Like I think my anecdotal kind of reference for this when it comes to card games, Vanguard didn't have to change for me to stop playing Vanguard. I lost my interest in Vanguard. Vanguard changed, but I very much know that it wasn't Vanguard changing that made me play a different game. I just didn't feel like playing Vanguard anymore. Yu-Gi-Oh was a little different. Yu-Gi-Oh evolved and changed in some very terrifying ways over the years. And during tier format, I was like, I'm out. I'm good. I'll just play old cards and ignore whatever's going on in the metagame.
Yeah.
I wasn't less interested in Yu-Gi-Oh. Just Yu-Gi-Oh changed in a way that I was not very happy with.
Next question. It seems that Yu-Gi-Oh is more of a nostalgic kind of game when it comes to fan bases. It seems like people have either been playing for 15 plus years or stopped at a point and have come back into it. But I feel we're all of the same generation of Yu-Gi-Oh. Do you guys think this is the case? And what could be done to get a new wave of Yu-Gi-Oh players? Comes to us from Dre. He often submits questions. What are you feeling with this?
I mean, the Yu-Gi-Oh players I'm around mostly, yeah, they are, I would say, cut of a similar enough cloth. Otherwise, they wouldn't hang around me. More like older school Yu-Gi-Oh players. We're still here because we're addicted and we can't stop. But I know there was a generation of Yu-Gi-Oh players that came after me. They're a bit younger. They're closer to Paul's age. You know how y'all interpret the game and how y'all feel about things.
Zoomity zoomers.
But for the most part, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh players have been playing for a long time, and to get new players in, we kind of need to reboot Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, this is one of these great examples of.
I didn't even want to say the word reboot because we always say that.
I know. Yeah. Let's take a moment to say, the question is fine. There's nothing wrong with the question. It's not your fault, Dre. The thing is, though, this it brings you back to that this beating this dead horse thing where yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I think the only way that we really bring new people in is probably via a reboot, or at the very least getting another anime running right now.
Bring in Rush Duels.
Yeah, it's Rush Duel, a new anime of some kind, or a reboot. Those are the three things. I honestly am at the point now where I've answered this question so many times that I'm convinced I'm just objectively right almost. I know. But seriously, it's got to be one of those three things. I don't even know which one. I don't, whatever, but it's alt formats don't change anything. All alt formats are for a few disenfranchised old people, right? They're fun. They're great. I love them. But it's taking that same existing dirty bathwater and just
ooh, not the dirty water.
And just sort of swooshing it around. But if you want to actually get new blood into this game, it's got to be a new anime is airing, so new people have some latching on point that's
right.
On their anime season and it's happening and they can follow it and the game matches that, whatever. Or it's Rush Duel where it's okay, this is a new fresh take on Yu-Gi-Oh! It's simpler, it looks different, it is visibly distinct with its rules and its everything. Or you take old school Yu-Gi-Oh, you reboot it, and now all your old head unks are cool, this is great, I like it. And in addition to all of the cultural buzz surrounding it, new Gen Z, Gen Alpha people who didn't see it maybe growing up are interested because everyone else is talking about it. But either way,
did that, I would work so hard to pass Yu-Gi-Oh on to a new generation.
Yeah, and as it is now, just Yu-Gi-Oh's fine. It's just releasing new packs and it's just great. Heroes got more support.
Fine for a bunch of OGs and unks.
But that's the thing is it will never really change unless one of those three things happens. That that's kind of.
I would harp on it more, but I think it's the subject we've harped on.
We've beaten this dead horse. Yeah, I have to apologize. I picked this question for this week, and I was it looks like a pretty interesting question, but I realized some people, they do tune in and they're just okay, we're just circling the drain every week on these topics, and so
you know what? I'm gonna endeavor to give us a new answer.
Okay,
I'm gonna do it right now. Okay, check it out. So, what if we take the elements and ideas that kids today and we make a new lore series based on it? So hear me out. Okay.
Oh boy.
So we're gonna take Paw Patrol. All right.
Woo.
We're gonna take Paw Patrol. What's that YouTuber's name? No, the streamer. Paw Patrol, Kai Cenat, and SpongeBob memes. Because kids don't watch SpongeBob, they just know the memes.
Right.
So, and we're gonna make.
Wait. Where's Fortnite?
Oh no.
Fortnite's got to be in there too.
That's too hard to incorporate.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying it needs to be in there.
Each one could be an archetype in a lore series.
Yeah.
Right. A Paw Patrol, Kai Cenat, SpongeBob meme, like
Fortnite,
lore situation.
Roblox, Mr. Beast.
We need cards that look like a small jumping streamer, four-legged pals wearing hats, and that one meme of like Squidward looking out the window.
Yeah, people having fun. I don't know. Sure, Alex got it figured out.
I don't know.
No, Alec, that's the end. No.
As Yugioh is today,
answer.
it's hard to
have faith in your answer. You're right. You don't need to explain anymore. All right, well, we're going to finish off with a review that somebody left for us.
Oh, yeah. Let's
I figured I'd start seeing how it works if I like put the reviews at the end of the pod.
Okay.
Instead of the beginning of the pod. No particular reason why, but anyways, here's this week's review. We actually have a couple of new reviews, so thanks to everybody who's left them.
Appreciate you.
This person says, I know I'm late to the party. Oh, by the way, here's their title. 5 stars. The only podcast that lets you draw 2 cards with no downside.
None.
From ZD91. I know I'm late to the party, but I wanted to say congrats on making it to over 100 episodes. Even though I don't play the game anymore, Yu-Gi-Oh! Will always have a special place in my heart. I really enjoy hearing about what's going on in the dueling world and reminiscing over a good Team APS retro duel. Keep up the good work. Pass turn.
Hey.
Thanks, ZD. Appreciate that. Yeah. If you guys want to leave a review, certainly do. It helps out.
Appreciate it.
And if you made it this far in the video, you sure as hell better have thumbs up, subscribed.
Leave a comment, not just in the live chat if you're in the premiere, but leave a comment on the normal comment section too.
Yeah, that's true. That actually helps. I always hate to ask about that, but if you've been in the chat and then you also leave a comment in the video, it's double the algorithmic signals.
That's true. Double the power.
Yeah. Cool and fun and awesome. We hope you guys enjoyed. There were a lot of stories this time.
Yeah, lots of random things. It felt like whiplash. We apologize.
Yeah, do you guys kind of like just that's the rapid fire, just a bunch of neat little things, or maybe you want more focus?
We can do either one.
Around,
We're flexible. Well, I'm not that flexible. Though Paul can turn himself into a pretzel.
Yeah. What?
So, guys, if you want to see that next time, we'll have Paul turn into a pretzel on camera.
2,000 likes will happen. Okay, well, that's the pod. Hopefully you guys enjoy your Thursday, and we will see you in the next one or in the bonus episode if you're a channel member.
Pass turn.
Pass turn.